a blackout, that what I have to say, the news that I create on my news site, is something so uncomfortable and so horrific and so outside of anybody's realm of possibility that they just don't want to believe what I have done.
That's right. Yeah, but that's the initial response often that you get when it's in one regard exposing something or groundbreaking or peering into new areas, that it will be neglected, or people won't have the courage to look at it, basically. But again, it's just I feel that you need to keep on doing what it is that you're doing, and have the same idea that you mentioned to me, without any fear, because that's the best way to get it out. And again, if that's in the spirit of where we need to go, I think that will be it will come to the surface more and more, and it will be brought up, even actually eventually in mainstream media. But again, I don't sit around and wait for them in regards to that, as they're going to be the final kind of recognition to all this. I feel that we need to chug away and do what we're doing anyway, regardless of what they're doing. For all we know, it could be kind of the slow death of the mainstream media that we're seeing and witnessing right now, because they only will touch upon entertainment stuff. They only will touch upon very, very kind of superficial things. And I think that generally more and more people want to have the real stuff. They want to know, what's really going on behind the surface. And so I'm very, very positive, actually, and I don't feel any negative side to what we can see in the world. And I'm very positive that we will make it. Just as you talked about before, we could end up in a situation where we possibly crumble in that sense, but I don't see it, not yet. We have more to give.
I'm so excited. I am so excited to hear you say all of this, and I'm so honored and so thankful that we are talking and having this discussion, because here we are, half a world apart, completely different people, but we're singing the same song.
Mm.
We're dancing to the same music, and there are so many others of us out there that it does take the courage and no fear, but we have a common intention, and that is for the healing, and that is for the perpetuation of us as a peaceful, and it sounds so goofy, but the John Lennon song Imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, we are one people, we are on one planet. And again, back to the medicine wheel, if we look at the different directions and the different colors as the different races, if one race is eliminated or out of balance, the wheel, our survival is done. And that's why it is so important that I feel this strong passion to give voice to the voiceless, and that does include those little girls in Brazil. I may never meet them. I may never meet those illegal alien prostitutes who were taken into custody and processed through some type of system where the word prostitute overshadows the word victim.
Yeah.
And
go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to say that I think that you're doing what you can do about it in that sense, instead of which I feel many people are also doing when they hear about this stuff. They sit around and feel sorry about it. But the important thing is to spread the information about it. I feel, to help the flow of information, so more and more people can be aware. This idea of what can you call it, like their own little intelligence network that people begin to build once they're aware of what is going on really behind the closed door, so to speak, either if it's being what we're talking about here in regards to the gestures and whatnot. But the more people that are aware about this stuff, the more I feel that they will have their eyes open. And if they do have their eyes open, this is what will prevent that too, because too many people are shutting off all the time, and they're shutting off their awareness about this,
perceptions.
their perception about this, So again, it isn't that we need to all the time run around and warn people all the time, or tell how bad everyone else is in regards to these groups and whatnot. The information about this needs to get out, don't get me wrong, but what I'm saying is that the most important thing that I think we can do is just all be aware of our own surrounding and our own kind of circumference around ourselves, because if we recognize this or spot this, so to speak, in regards to our own lives and point it out and expose it in that sense,
Yes.
then none of this would be possible, right? But that's not the case right now. You know what I mean?
Well, I believe that when you were talking about abuse and healing and we got into some dysfunction stuff, I believe instead of turning outside for answers, again, I'm not a joiner, and I don't want to join a group to tell me anything, but ultimately where I think people might want to consider going is to look for the answers within ourselves. Because we have our own little gyroscope and our own little sense of balance of what is right and what is wrong, which is exactly what you're talking about.
That's right. No, I couldn't agree more. I think that's very healthy. And again, it's not about signing up for some agenda or some kind of common thing. As you said before, it's really we don't need to go in and join anything else. We are already one on one planet. In that sense, we're already united. So what's the purpose of secluding yourself from someone else or locking yourself away from everyone else in that sense?
Oh, right. Well, one article I did write was about Hunter S. Thompson, the Shriners, and the 12 Steps for Shriners Anonymous, when I talked about these guys being political junkies and getting over that addiction. I think ultimately when we were trying to figure out a sociopathological type of analysis here, I think that maybe it could be boiled down to addictions, where some people may be addicted to diet soda, or some people might be addicted to running. I think in these cases, some of these people might be addicted to a perception of power.
Yeah.
And one thing about the Shriners, which really kind of bothers me, and please don't take offense because you're a male, but I mean, their terms are potentate, and they seem to be very penis oriented.
Well, they are. You're absolutely right.
I mean, what kind of group do you want to join? And these guys just sit around thinking about their dicks all the time.
Well, again, look at some of the symbolism. Again, if we go back to Washington D.C., and the obelisk there, it's a big phallus symbol. This is something that actually is reflected in many of the esoteric doctrines as well. In that sense, a lot of symbols are, and I mean, people have pointed out what a skyscraper is. It's a big phallus, in that sense. So it's very, very, I think you're right there in that sense. It's very, very masculine oriented and structured right now society, because it has been built primarily by males, and the masculine type of mentality in that sense. So what needs to take place in that regard, I very much agree with, is a balancing of both the feminine and the masculine, and it's really not that hard. Yes.
Exactly. And so again, to see these guys and read about how they're taking advantage of these women in these different situations, it's just not right. And you can look at it from, like I said, I don't know if you have a little sister, I mean, earlier you were talking about the pathological behavior of the pedophiliac, where one of the ways I get my news is, when you're a reporter, you have a beat, and you follow your police beat, fashion beat, entertainment beat, city beat, whatever. And so I do it through Google Alerts. And I put in these words like child sex tourism, or whoever I'm watching, or Shriners, or Royal Order Jesters, and that's how I find out what's going on through my email and these little alerts.
Yep.
Oh, I just don't know.
Well, I think that we're if we begin to run things up here, Sandy, for this time, that we're what the work that you're doing is very, very important, and I certainly hope that you will continue for as long as you can. I do want to talk a little bit more about your book in regards to helping out more financially. I guess that your people can get a copy of your ebook right now. Is that correct? And that will help you a little bit in your research. Sure. Is that right?
Right. And what I'm trying to do now is, again, boil down into a very conversational, narrative way, like you and I have been talking, a book that actually describes all of this. And what I'm actually going to be waiting for is Judge Tills is supposed to be sentenced on August 7th. And here we have a former New York State Supreme Justice of the Court being sentenced for violating the Mann Act, and his testimony has led to the proactive investigation of sex trafficking and the sexual abuse of minors and international travel for those purposes. And for people to wrap their heads around this, they shake their heads and they go, "Ugh," and they can't understand it, or they don't want to believe it. But that's what we have here, a certain level of American society, a certain the rich, powerful, and famous in this group, the Royal Order Adjusters. And like I said, the U.S. Attorney has talked about how these courts have a guy who gets the prostitutes for their weekend parties. So that's what we're looking at here.
Very, very good. And again, we'd love to have you back, Sandy, once your new book is out, and help you to talk more about that and dive into maybe some of the things that we didn't have time for this time. And again, this story will develop further along here, so we're definitely going to keep an eye on it, keep an eye on your writing, and please feel free to contact me at any point if there's some developments on the story, okay?
Oh, you'll be the first. And I want to commend you and Red Ice Creations. You guys are visionaries. You're sensitives, and you're gifted, and I love what you're doing, and I support it. And I want to thank you for having me on.
Oh, thank you very much. Again, the website I want to mention, sandyfrost.newsvine.com, and we will have this, of course, up on our website, redicecreations.com. Head on over there, check it out, read some of this material. Very important and very interesting, of course. Sandy, again, thank you very much for coming on. We will talk more soon, okay?
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to this interesting program with Sandy Frost, and thank you for being a member. My thanks to Fredrik. Take good care, and we will talk more soon.